My name is Donna Moore, and I'm here at beautiful Winter Park, Florida at a Chateau Kitchen. A Chateau Kitchen is a licensed commissary where about 20 small businesses make their food products to either wholesale, retail, or sell at area farmers markets. We have about 20 businesses that manufacture everything from ice cream to cakes to cookies to chocolates, shortbreads, goodness, we make it all, fabulous sauces. And we want to thank Signature Chefs of Orlando for featuring some of our wonderful chefs on their program. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Donna Moore, and I am the owner of Chateau Confections. And I have been making chocolate as a business for about 4 years now. And I got started because I come from a long line of chocoholics. And I made chocolate as gifts for family and friends for a number of years before I started. Mainly fudge and fudge sauces and things like that. Then once I started my business, I had this kind of up my learning curve a little bit and start learning about tempering chocolate and about chocolate itself and the sensitivities that go along with protecting your product from the environment, because it is quite a fragile product. I work with Guittard chocolate. The primary product I use from them is a 63% gourmet bittersweet. A bittersweet chocolate has the cocoa liqueur, and it has a little sugar, typically some cocoa butter, and a stabilizer. And for this Guittard, that is soy lecithin. I love this product. It comes in 10-pound blocks of chocolate. I also work with their 72% extra bittersweet, and it comes in what is called buttons. With either of these type chocolates, you have to temper it. And what tempering does for chocolate, it reduces the crystals in the chocolate to a consistent size so that you get a very shiny, smooth, crisp break when you break it. If you're not going to eat the chocolate for a while, you must temper it. If you're going to consume it within a few hours, then you don't have to temper it. With my products, because I do produce in bulk now, I had to acquire some tempering machines because it's quite cumbersome and time consuming if you temper the chocolate by a manual process. And what I wanted to show you today, I thought we'd do some fun things because this is pretty much how I got started when I was experimenting and trying to decide if it was a viable business for me to get involved in. So what I thought we'd do, since it's the holidays, one of the most popular flavors that I make out of about 20 flavors is Peppermint Crunch. And Peppermint Crunch is typically just found around the holidays when it's produced by some of the mass manufacturers. I like to offer it all year long because peppermint is known for having some properties that can soothe the stomach, aid in digestion. So I think it's a real nice, refreshing flavor to offer all year long. So what we're going to do today, when you have the tempered chocolate, you have to lay it out. I make a bark style chocolate. It's very natural. I do make some truffles also, but it is my preference to have a really high grade chocolate, work with fresh ingredients, so that all you get is the chocolate and then the flavor. I don't work with oils. And the Peppermint Crunch happens to be the only flavor that I make that is not considered like a fresh product, like my orange zest, where I would just zest an orange. So the chocolate, we've already got it tempered. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Peppermint Crunch and we're gonna put it into a bowl. And then this sheet pan is going to allow me to make about 3 pounds of finished chocolate. So I'm going to scoop, that's about 6 to 7 scoops out of my tempered chocolate. And again, this is the Gourmet Bittersweet. It's the 63%. And then I'm just going to stir it up. With chocolate, the ideal temperature for it to set at is between 59 degrees Fahrenheit and 63. Another reason that you temper it, besides the sheen and the smooth surface that you get, and the fact that it helps it be a very crisp product to break, is that the chocolate is less likely to get bloom on it. And bloom is a whitish coloration that you might have seen on some chocolate. And all that is, it means the chocolate has been either exposed to a fairly substantial temperature difference, or there has some moisture, been exposed to some moisture. And the chocolate is completely edible. It does not damage the chocolate other than aesthetically. It's still perfectly fine to eat. However, some people, you know, if you're out buying chocolate as a gift, you want it to be really shiny, really pretty, and look like the high-end chocolate it is. So if it has bloom on it, we're just going to take these little lumps out. If it has bloom on it, if you wholesale like I do, that's not something that people want to see. But it can be a problem when you sell it if it's not stored, you know, properly by the person you sell it to. But this is a pan that's going to equate to about 3 pounds of chocolate. And to give you an idea, each of these boxes holds a 1/4 pound. And this is what the Peppermint Crunch will look like in the holiday packaging. That's a 1/4 pound. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take this slab of chocolate and we're going to put it over here in the cooling wrap, and it is going to set within about 5 to 10 minutes. And then after it sets, we'll break it into pieces, weigh it, and then put it in the packaging, and it's ready to go. And I'm sure we're going to nibble on some too. And then Kathy Belosa is helping me today. Kathy also, she's with Kathy's Cajun Cuisines, and she makes her product here at the kitchen, and she's my able assistant today. This is sink, yeah. Then, one of the things, when I got started, again, keep in mind, I was just doing fun things that I like, things that my friends like, that I could give as gifts and kind of keep the budget low. Everybody loves the chocolate-covered potato chips or chocolate-covered popcorn, so I thought it'd be fun to do some of these today, because what I'm trying to show you is how easy it is to, and how fun, and how people get started in a business when you're just following your passion. So all I'm going to do, I don't dip the potato chips because that's very time-consuming. I just ladle a nice big spoon of chocolate, and I just drench them. Get some swirls going so you get, you know, a lot of big goop on there. And you can use a milk chocolate, you can use, sometimes I do black and whites, I use the white chocolate. But then you get your salty sweet, because everybody, when they go to the movie, they usually end up with a popcorn and a cola, or a popcorn and chocolate or something. So this is all in one. So these are pretty fun, and it's nice just for stocking stuffers or just to kind of nosh on when you're out and about. And that's how simple that is. That's fun. The next thing we're going to do, when you have, again, you have your tempered chocolate, I work with a number of molds. And I'll show you some of these. This is a nice little pair of shoes. These are real popular with the young girls. They love these. They make great little hostess gifts or great little party favors. Today we're going to make 2 types of Christmas trees. And I work with edible paints, edible glitters and edible paints, because I don't want to change the flavor of the chocolate, which if you added an icing or something or more substantial chocolate coating on it, it would do. And I want to leave it pretty natural. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a couple of the chocolate trees. And I already have the little pop sticks in here. And we're going to pour. You can use a like a pastry bag to pour the chocolate, to squeeze the chocolate into the molds. When I was tempering the chocolate, I added a little extra cocoa butter because the cocoa butter will add a little more sheen, and it will also make help the chocolate release from the mold once it's set. And you can see I'm messy. That's what happens when you're self-trained. And but what'll happen after it sets, you tap it to get the air bubbles out. And I don't know if that's a bit loud on the speaker, so I'll let Kathy tap it before she puts it in the fridge. But what this will do, we put it in the refrigerator for about 5 or 10 minutes, and that will set the chocolate. And then, my goodness, we will release it. Miss Kathy, I made a mess. Then these have the little gold balls, these edible candy balls on it. And this is this particular tree. And I apologize for my back to the camera, but these tempering machines are pretty powerful, and they have a big fan, and it makes it a little bit difficult to hear when you're talking. Ideally, you want to fill a mold not quite to the top. And again, you're going to tap it, and then it's going to go in the fridge, and it's going to set. Then today, I wanted to show you something. When I go to a chocolate festival, and there is a chocolate festival coming up in Tampa, Florida. When I go to a chocolate festival, I carry my regular chocolates, my good chocolates, but then I also do a fun booth called Double Dare Ya. And that's where we get some funky things in there. And one of the funky things that I make, I do chocolate covered crickets. And I buy them from an educational website, and they are dried, and they have different flavors. Happens to be bacon and cheese. I put them in a bug mold, one little cricket body in each mold, and cover them in chocolate. And the kids go crazy for them. They taste like a potato chip because, again, they're flavored, but they're a lot of fun to work with. And that's just one of the things I do. I do a number of other silly things too, because the idea is to make something with chocolate that you normally wouldn't find. And we've experimented a little bit. People have kind of their limits on what they'll try when it's gross. So we found that I did larvette some dried worms, and that was a little bit gross for our market around here. So we stuck with the crickets. And then I do some chocolate covered alligator jerky, because being here in Florida, you want to do something that is tied into our region, and you can't get any more Florida than an alligator. So I do that. This year, I think I'm going to do some chocolate cricket nachos in addition, which would be a lot of fun. And I'm going to do some chocolate covered hot dogs, which will be a lot of fun too. And then my able assistant is going to, you can see how messy I am on this. She's going to tap these down, and then when they come out, they'll be chocolate crickets. So that's what, when we use the chocolate, that's what we do. Once you melt your chocolate, and if you're having a little party, chocolate making party at home, and you're gonna use the chocolate right away, you don't have to temper. If you're gonna eat it as soon as you make it, just melt it in the microwave or on a double boiler, and then you're good to go. But I hope we've given you a few ideas on what you can have with chocolate, and we'll check on our potato chips and see if they're setting. Not quite yet. And then the peppermint crunch will be ready to eat in about 5 minutes.